Hello and welcome to Galactic Wisdom. It's good to be back with you. I am going to lead today a global peace manifestation meditation. But before I do that, I'm going to give my regular update about my activities, my contact activities. I am heading off after I finish this show to Las Vegas because tomorrow evening I am going to be hosting a contact event, a contact meditation out in the desert there. I've said this before, you've heard me say it before, I'm sure, northwest of Las Vegas in Creech Air Force bases in the ranges of land out there, tall, white, alien beings live. They have an agreement there with the Air Force that they live out there in exchange for them giving the Air Force technology. And so I am going to go out there again. I've been out there many, many times. I used to live actually in Henderson, close to Las Vegas. And so I actually have spent 5 or 6 years reaching out to the tall whites, and I've had a lot of success. I've connected with them, I've communicated with them, I've been invited by them to go out into the desert and camp out there in the desert. And so I know some of those tall whites. We have befriended them. And so I'm going to go out there again. And I am going to try and communicate with them again tomorrow evening. If you are in Las Vegas, or if you would like to join me for my contact event out there, then you may do so. It's a free event, and you can join me at 7 p.m. at the closed gate, the closed gated entrance to the Desert National Wildlife Refuge, which is between Las Vegas and Indian Springs. So it's very easy to find the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. Just drive in that direction until you hit a closed gate, and I will be there at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, and you can come and join me for a contact meditation if you wish. On Saturday, what I am going to do is I am going to try and see Area 51. Now, there is a mountain peak called Tikaboo Peak, which is north of Las Vegas, where you can drive up there to a trailhead, to a public trailhead, public trail, and you can walk up to Tikaboo Peak. And Tikaboo Peak is a place where you can look across, and you can be there legally, and you can legally look across to the west, and you can see Area 51. Now, it's a long way off. It's about 20 to 26 miles, I think I remember reading. But with binoculars, you can actually see Area 51. And so I am going to, on Saturday, go to that peak. Now, if you would like to join me on an expedition, free expedition to go and see Area 51 on Saturday, then you can join me at 3 p.m. at the Paranagat National Wildlife Refuge north of Las Vegas. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Paranagat, P-A-H-R, that's how it starts, Paranagat, a National Wildlife Refuge. And we're meeting there at the headquarters or the visitor center, and meet us there at 3 o'clock. But come with a 4-wheel drive, because there's 20 miles of driving on a dirt track from there to the west up to an elevation of approximately 8,000 feet, and 4-wheel drives are going to be needed. And then there's going to be over an hour of hiking. So only join me if you like hiking at high altitude. It's probably going to be quite hot during the day, and it's probably going to be quite cold during the night. You're going to need to bring a lot of water, well over a gallon, I suggest. But if none of that puts you off, then join me at 3 o'clock at the Paranagat National Wildlife Refuge on Saturday, and we are going to go and look at Area 51. And not just look at Area 51, but look at the sky above Area 51, which is may well have some interesting things going on in them. Now, last year I did go into the Desert National Wildlife Refuge north of Las Vegas and look across in the direction of Area 51, and you can see lots and lots of lights in the sky. I would say a lot of them are anomalous in that there are a lot of them, and that not all of them are flashing and strobing. But I can't say that I witnessed any of those lights doing anything that was particularly alien. But maybe on Saturday we'll get lucky and see an alien craft. Now, I have, with my online group, astrally projected into Area 51. We did that about a week ago in preparation for Saturday's event. And this is what we do. We get into a meditative state. We astrally project. We take our consciousnesses through the atmosphere down above Las Vegas, and we went in cautiously above Area 51, and we astrally projected down towards Area 51, and we went under the ground, and we had a little look around, and we communicated with some beings. One of my members, who was in that astral projection, she came back and said, well, she tried to talk to an alien, and the alien said, well, come over here and talk to this human instead, astrally. This human, whom she said was called Bill, interestingly enough, not our Bill here, but this Bill works in the Area 51 underground complexes. That was a claim she made. Afterwards, she looked it up and discovered that there is information about a Bill working in Area 51, which is very interesting. So she had a constructive interaction with Bill, and who knows, maybe Bill will know that we're coming and come out and say hello to us, or fly out in a alien craft. Wouldn't that be nice? Something else interesting happened during that meditation where we astrally projected into Area 51. One of my good friends, when she arrived, she was met in the underground complexes of Area 51 by a tall white being. And that tall white being, a male, put his hand on her shoulder, and then he guided her through the corridors, the areas, the rooms, the hangars of Area 51. And not only was he guiding her, he was protecting her. So that was interesting. And this particular friend of mine is very psychic and has proved that what she says is real. So that was pretty cool. Now, when I went there a few years ago to the Desert National Wildlife Refuge, and I drove up 3 hours into that desert, and I camped there, we connected with a tall white called George. And George lives in the mountains there with the other tall whites. And we asked him, we would like to be your friend. Is that okay? And he said, okay. And so we have a tall white friend out there, and I'm hoping tomorrow evening to connect with him. I'm also hoping to one day see their giant mothership. I don't know what it's called, but we call it a mothership. A good friend of mine who lives in Vegas, he loves what I do. He loves the contact events that I host. And every single time I go out there, he comes to the events. And after he came out the first time, he then went out week after week after week after week by himself and reached out to the tall whites. And eventually, Big Mothership showed up. And his mother saw it, and his father saw it. And I've interviewed both of them, and pretty convincing stuff. So I know that my friend will be joining me either on Friday or Saturday, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to assist us in bringing in that giant mothership over Las Vegas. So those are my plans for the next few days. I hope you will join me. If you live in Vegas, it's easy. Just show up at the times and the places that I've just mentioned. If you need more details, send me a message and I'll be happy to give you those details. If you like, you can email me at rupertcontactguy@gmail.com and I'll be happy to supply you with the information. Now, today we're going to do a peace manifestation. So let's talk a little bit about peace before we get into this meditation. Clearly, if we look at the world today is facing some problems. Lots of different problems, but the amount of violence on our planet is a big problem. And you can look at the statistics, look at the facts for the last decade, and you will see that the amount of violent crime, the amount of violent conflict around the world, wars and armed conflicts are increasing. They have been increasing slowly over the last few years. And that's very worrying. It is entirely predictable. The world is moving in some dangerous situation, into some dangerous directions. So, this is what I've been predicting and saying all along. And is it going to get better? No, it's going to get worse. And our alien friends have been showing us the future for decades, showing us that all of our activities, the violence, the hostility, the nuclear weapons, the climate change, all of this is taking us towards hell on earth, basically. And so none of this is surprising to me, and it's going to keep getting worse. However, we're not just going to decide to give up and walk away from the world's problems, because if you could save one person from being attacked, it's worth it. It is worth it. Even if you don't save the world, if you can increase the peace on this planet, even by one little measurement of peace, then absolutely you should do it. And that's how I live my life. I live my life according to the philosophy, the vision of universal peace. What does universal peace mean? Universal peace means unconditional peace. It means being peaceful to everybody in the universe. Who do I mean by everybody? Do I mean just me? No. Do I mean just my family or my friends? No. Just the people in my country? No. Just the people on my planet? Just my species? No, no, no. I mean every conscious life form in the universe being peaceful to the extent that is practically possible. Now, if somebody comes at you with a gun and points it in your face, you have every right to defend yourself. And if somebody did that to me, I would defend myself. And I'm a black belt in karate. And I used to instruct karate. And within a second, that person would be unconscious on the floor if somebody did that to me. And that might not seem like a peaceful act, but actually, it would result in more peace than if they were to shoot me, because they would be on the floor unconscious instead of me being on the floor dead. So, you can respond to violence in a aggressive or violent way in the name of peace if it's a direct response. What gets philosophically dangerous and practically dangerous and against peace is if you go attacking preemptively anybody that you feel threatened by, anybody who you feel might hurt you or might hurt your friends. That's not a good idea. But universal peace, that is my philosophy. Universal peace followed by universal love, followed by universal well-being. Those three things. Now, I talk to non-human entities all the time, and they agree with my philosophy of putting peace above all else. If there is any other consideration that you might be thinking of, like, well, money, nationality, religion, politics, if any of those things takes priority over peace, you're not going to get peace. And when we look around the planet today, we see that we have a big lack of peace because people are not making peace the priority. So these words that I'm saying, they're easy to say. They're not quite as easy to live your life by. If somebody were to say something rude and disrespectful to you, what would you do? Would you say something rude and disrespectful back to them? If somebody were to push you out of the way as they're walking down the street, would you push them back? If somebody were to post a negative comment about you on social media, would you post a negative comment back against that person? If somebody were to come into your home and shoot one of your family members, would you shoot them back? These are all very hard questions to answer. And I know that a lot of people will instinctively be saying, well, of course I would respond to that. Of course, if somebody posted something negative about me, I would post something negative about them. Of course, if somebody was rude to me, I'd be rude back. It's justified. It's justified, right? It's justified. It's fair. It's karma, etc. Law of attraction, call it whatever you want. And lots of people feel that way. But that's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And I think it was Gandhi that said, and I can't remember the exact quote, but he said, you know, that whole thing about an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, that's going to leave people blind. It's going to leave people unable to chew their food. It feels right to respond to people who are rude to you by being rude back. But what that means is if you do respond back to any of those things, it means that the world is set at a level of violence determined by those people who are initiating it. It means that the initiators of violence, the perpetrators, the propagators, not the propagators, the initiators, the people who start it, the worst of our species, they set the tone for the planet. They set the tone for our politics. They set the tone for whether or not there is a war or not. If we are to increase the peace on this planet, then quite logically what we need to do is we need to not respond in an aggressive way to all of those things. That doesn't necessarily mean not responding. It means maybe stopping and pausing and thinking about how can we respond in a way that's non-violent? What can we do that is going to be Gandhi-like or Yoda-like or wise, Jesus-like, if you like? You know, I'm not a religious person, but I think Jesus was a real person and he was a peaceful person. How do we respond in a peaceful way to non-peaceful people? We can be like them and we can let them set the level of violence on the planet as it is right now, or we can rise above that. We can achieve galactic wisdom. We can ascend. And so my suggestion to people, and I'm not telling people what to do, but my suggestion to people is to not be violent in your response, not be violent, aggressive, hostile, or even negative to anybody who is negative to you, who is hostile or violent towards you. That's my suggestion. That is how we're going to stop wars. That is how we're going to stop conflict from escalating and propagating on and on and on and on in these cycles of violence. Now, it is hard, and it is so hard that it actually goes against human nature. We're programmed with instincts and feelings that we should respond violently to people out there that are being violent to us. And there's a reason we're programmed to respond in that way, because it is the strongest people, the most violent people that often win and therefore continue into the future. But we need to ask ourselves, what is more important here? surviving into a future that we can already see is going in a really terrible direction, or rising above that, evolving to the level where the peaceful people are going to be the ones who survive. That's hard to go against human nature, but that's what I'm suggesting. And so the next time you feel that impulse, like, oh, I want to get back at that person that's just wronged me, stop, pause, consider. Are you just going to be human? Are you just going to be a human who propagates violence like we've been doing way back through history? Or are you going to advance to the next level? Are you going to make our future more peaceful? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a meditation. I'm going to lead us in a manifestation meditation. What's manifestation? Well, manifestation is not doing magic. Manifestation is not doing something that's impossible. It's not performing miracles. Manifestation is utilizing a inherent fundamental characteristic of the universe, which is not presently understood by science. And that is to increase the probability of a possibility that you want. People are probably familiar with the idea of parallel universes, where every universe, every possible occurrence within this universe that could occur is occurring somewhere in one of these multiple parallel universes. And that's a common theory that is put out by people who don't understand quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, what you have is a range of different possible situations. And usually quantum mechanics is talking about subatomic particles. But you've got a range of different possibilities, and only one of those possibilities is reality. So if you imagine tomorrow's possibilities stretching out all the way to the left and all the way to the right in this infinite number of different possible Earths that could exist tomorrow, with different levels of violence and different levels of peace, different levels of success for you, different levels of failure. All of the possibilities that exist, those possibilities are out there in the future, but only one of those possibilities is actually going to happen. There's only one world, there's only one universe, there's only one reality here in our universe which is going to happen, and that's the one we live in. And how do we, most people just go through their lives accepting whatever comes at them, and other people and other people's manifestive abilities determine what comes at them. But we have the ability, with the power of our minds, to home in on one of the possibilities that we want. A possibility of a planet with more peace, or a possibility of a planet where, I don't know, that person that you just asked out on a date says yes. A possibility of a world in which more aid gets through borders into a country where there's a conflict going on. If something is possible, then you can latch onto it, and you can put your mind towards pulling it in front of your path and manifesting it. Now, manifesting is not something that is perfect. It's not something that that you can always achieve what you want, because, well, maybe you're manifesting this outcome, but somebody else in the world might be trying to manifest another outcome, and you can't both get opposing outcomes. And so usually the highest probability of outcome is the one that succeeds, but not always. So this is not a perfect thing, but you can increase the probability of the possibilities that you want occurring. And when there's an increased probability, then you're more likely to get that outcome. So if you want a planet with more peace in it, and you try and manifest that. You try and pull into your path a more peaceful planet, then you increase the probability of that happening. And if you get together in a group, like what I'm doing, a group of people all trying to manifest peace at the same time, then you multiply the probability of peace happening. If you want a raise at work, if that's a possibility, then by focusing on getting that raise, you can increase the probability of it happening. And therefore, you're more likely to get what you want. So anything that is possible, you can increase the possibility of it happening. You can increase the likelihood of you getting what you want. What you cannot do is get the impossible. If something has a probability of 0, then you can't get it, no matter how hard you try and manifest it. And some people don't get that. Some people will simply say completely incorrectly, anything's possible, nothing's impossible. Well, that is objectively wrong. There are some things that can't happen. It can't happen that we travel back in time and turn me yesterday into a mug that is made out of diamond. It's an impossibility. You try and manifest it, no matter how many billions of years you try and manifest that, it's not going to happen. Some things just are impossible, but it is possible that we can increase the peace on this planet. It is possible that people out there who are going to pull a trigger and fire a gun at somebody, it's possible that, I don't know, they might get a cramp in their finger, or they might get a little bit of empathy, a little bit more empathy, and decide not to pull the trigger. It's possible that a gust of wind might blow the bullet and cause it to miss the heart and not kill somebody. There are possible ways for increasing the peace. That's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on that today. So what I'm going to suggest that we all do now is we silence our phones or our devices if you're going to join in, so that we don't get interrupted during this meditation. And first of all, I would like to thank the people who are watching, because it shows, it proves that you have a level of ascension that is, well, I'm going to say above average. You have a level of ascension that is shown by you wanting to help others. You want to have a peaceful planet. That's why you're here. And I commend you for that. I commend you for your peacefulness, for your empathy for others, for your consideration, giving up your time to try and help others. So I would like to thank you all very much for being here. Let us all get ourselves into relaxed positions. We're going to close our eyes and relax our bodies. And I'm going to guide us through a meditation. And you, if you want to, if you just listen to this meditation and try and remember the kind of things that I'm talking about, the practices, the procedures that I'm utilizing, you could use this to manifest anything in your life, not just peace, but you can try and manifest many other things that are possible in your life. Maybe healing more quickly, or sleeping well through the night. Anything that's possible, you can manifest. And so you could utilize this same meditation for multiple different things if you wanted to. We're going to close our eyes and relax our bodies. We're going to take our attention to our feet and just consciously let go of any tensions in our feet. Going to take our attention to our legs and let all of our leg muscles relax. Any muscles in our torsos, we disengage, We relax our tummy muscles, our sides, our backs. We take our minds to our arms and we consciously relax our arm muscles and our hands. All the muscles around our bodies are relaxing more and more. We feel our necks releasing their tensions, letting go of any stresses, knots in our muscles undo, and we feel increasingly relaxed. And we move to our faces. We let go of any tensions in our foreheads, our jaws, our cheeks, and all those muscles that surround our eyes. We just relax them. And we feel that our entire biological bodies are nice and relaxed. But we're not just biological beings, we're also spiritual beings with spiritual bodies. We're going to relax our spirits also, all around our entire bodies. Feel your spiritual currents relax and calm. We take our attention to our minds, to our thoughts. Many of us, perhaps even most of us, have stresses in our everyday lives, worries, doubts, concerns, conflicts. And we're not going to magically make all of that disappear, but we are going to rise above, allowing those darknesses to darken us. We let go of any emotional or mental tensions within us. We picture darknesses breezing out of our bodies like dark mists. And we replace those darknesses, those problems, those tensions with something far more important, far more powerful, far more valuable. Love. Love for all. Unconditional love and desire for the well-being of all conscious life forms throughout the universe, all around this world. We fill ourselves, our minds, our thoughts, our emotions with light and love. We feel that love that we would like to share with our planet growing in our hearts, growing stronger and stronger. We picture that love shining with great luminosity, radiating rays of love light all around this planet. There are many people watching this show right now, and also in the future there are going to be many people watching the recording of this show. Shine your love at each and every one of those people so that we become a trans-temporal, multinational, multicultural, diverse collective of peaceful, loving, spiritual humans. We picture our network of spiritual connection like a multifaceted, glowing jewel of light around this planet. And we collectively see in our minds this planet, the entire planet. And let us see the planet as it looks tomorrow. And to the left of the planet and to the right of the planet, almost like ghost images of our planet, exist infinite numbers of possible Earths, with infinite numbers of different possible occurrences happening on these different possible Earths. And only one of these possibilities can come into existence. So we are going to scan to the left and to the right, and we're going to find a planet that is as peaceful as we can find, as peaceful as is possible. We're going to see a great increase in happiness. We're going to see on that planet lots of people deciding simply to put their weapons down. We're going to see on that planet lots of people deciding, I'm going to be tolerant with that person on social media that I disagree with. We're going to see people on this possible planet feeling empathy for others, feeling pain when they see others hurt, feeling joy and happiness when they see others happy and healthy. Let us all focus our attention on that earth that is glowing more brightly with love than the other possibilities, and reach out your spiritual hands and take hold of that earth, and we pull it in front of us. Together we displace the earth of tomorrow with this more peaceful planet, and we hold it in place, and we manifest that planet. And we are going to see, stretching out in front of us, a whole week's worth of planets, a whole week worth of planet Earths where, yes, let's pull into our path in front of us the most peaceful Earths that are possible. And they feed into each other. One day of peace is liked and loved by so many that it feeds into another. Peace promotes peace. And let us pull into our path in front of us a string of peaceful earths. And let us hold that in place with our strength. And I respectfully ask that if there are any human spirits around us in the afterlife or the spiritual realm, if you see what we're doing and you wish to contribute and you're allowed and able to contribute, please come and give strength to what we're doing. And I respectfully ask that if there are any non-human entities out there who are peaceful, supportive, who see what we're doing and like it, please, if you have the ability to assist us in our manifestation, please assist us. Give us strength. Give this manifestation meditation strength. And let us see a whole week of planets ahead of us with people smiling, laughing, eating, drinking, watching good TV, focusing on their loving friendships and relationships instead of having to worry about who is trying to hurt them. We hold that in place. And then we move into this weeks-long timeline of Earths, and we find those people on this planet who are giving commands, directions, instructions for people to go out and hurt others. We find those people, and they could be leaders of countries, or they could just be regular people in our societies who are trying to get a bunch of their friends to go and hurt somebody that's been bad to them. We see those people who are promoting and nurturing violence. We see them and we go into their minds, not with violence, not with hatred, but with love. We let our love fill their minds and fill their hearts. We might not like what they do, we might not agree with their ways, but we do understand that they're human beings. They're conscious beings with emotions, and their successes, their well-being matters to them as much as to anybody. We're not going to go into their minds and try and control their minds. We are going to go into their minds and their hearts and find one possible earth in which they feel sad for those people they're planning on hurting. They feel the emotions of the people whom they're planning on hurting. They feel empathy for them. And we give strength to that possibility, and we pull that person with that empathy into our earths. World leaders, group leaders, family members, friends, children, anybody who is promoting, encouraging violence, we go to them and we help them to feel empathy, and we help them to experience a new kind of power, a power that they achieve when they tell their followers, you know, we're going to choose peace this time. We're going to, instead of hurting people, we're going to sit down and watch a movie, have a pizza, go for a hike, do something constructive. We are promoting peace. We see peace happening. We hold it in place for the next week. We relax. And we are coming towards the end of this meditation now. Try and know that we have increased the probability of peace happening. The easier it is for you to see ahead of you these peaceful options, the stronger they will be. And so now we allow our thoughts to come back to our own biological bodies. Our consciousness is returned to our own heads, our own minds. We draw back into our biological bodies, our spirits, our thoughts, and we stay bright. We stay loving. We stay calm and peaceful and ascended. We hear the sounds around us in our environments. We feel the temperature of the air touching our skin. We feel the touch of our clothes on our skin. We know that we are back in our physical bodies, in our physical environments, ready to come out of the meditation. Center your spirit in the center of your body. Let go of any remaining tensions. Fill yourself with light and love. And when you're ready, your eyes may open. Now, to some people, that might just seem like a fairy tale fantasy thing that we just did and nothing's going to come of it. But I'm a space scientist and I have scientifically studied manifestation. I have done multiple experiments where I have tried to manifest with groups of people certain outcomes which are scientifically easily verifiable. One thing you can do, you can practice this yourself and you can see that it works. You can take coins, you can toss those coins. You can toss them so that they land heads or tails. And if you don't think about it, and if you're not really trying to manifest anything, you toss that coin 100 times and you're going to get roughly 50-50. 50 heads, 50 tails. But if you put your mind to making more heads, then you will increase the probability of heads coming up, and you will very probably, I'm not going to say you will definitely, but you will very probably get more heads than tails. And if you do it the other way and focus on tails, you'll very probably get more tails than heads. I have done this experiment, I forget how many times, but I've recorded it the last something like 15 times in a row. And all 15 times when I've done it with a group of people, focusing on getting more heads than tails or more tails than heads, every single time we've achieved the outcome we set out to achieve. That doesn't mean getting 100 heads or 100 tails. We're increasing the probability of something. It's not an exact thing that you can perfectly pull out every single time the result that you want. But every single time I have done it, I always for decades have got more outcome, more heads than tails if that's what I'm looking for, more tails than heads if that's what I'm trying to manifest. So manifestation is something that you can do. So just like before bed, sometimes some people kneel and pray, you could sit down and manifest. And the activity of praying and manifesting is quite similar. I suppose that praying is asking for somebody else to do the work, where manifesting is us taking the responsibility ourselves. That's probably the main difference. But I recommend manifesting as a regular part of your everyday life. You will increase your well-being, your health, and your happiness by doing that. Not every single time, but most of the time. Now, there are some people who are very, very good people, who are very considerate people, who will kind of say, well, I'm happy to do that for others, but it feels wrong to manifest good things for myself. But I would argue that it is not wrong, because if you think about the vision of universal peace, which includes everybody, which includes you, universal love, which means love everybody, yes, and you're part of everybody. Love yourself too, unconditionally. Also, universal well-being. We want every conscious being in the universe to be as well as is practically possible. That includes you. So don't feel bad about trying to manifest good things for yourself. Now, I have tried in my group a few times to manifest winning the lottery. And I don't see anything wrong with that, because somebody has to win it, and I feel like I'm doing good work on the planet, and so are the people around me. So why not give us the money so that we can do even more good with that money? But the thing about the lottery is, well, what are the odds of winning to start with? What is it, like 1,000,000 to 1? Or I'm just guessing. But if let's say it's 1,000,000 to 1, you might get a group of 50 people together and try and manifest winning the lottery, and you might increase the probability, the one chance in 1,000,000 of you winning the lottery, but that's still like just 50 in 1,000,000, which is still incredibly small. So, we can increase the probability of possibilities, but we can't do it. We can't just make everything 100%. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could manifest perfectly, if we were so strong that our manifestive abilities we could guarantee the outcome that we wanted every time? Could it be that as our psychic abilities increase and improve, we increase our manifestive abilities? Well, I know that I have practiced manifestation to the point that I'm better at manifesting than most other people. When I do my group manifestations, I used to not be as good as other people, but now I'm doing much better than most other people in the group. I have improved my ability to manifest successfully through practice. Imagine that human beings' manifestation abilities are increasing as we evolve into the future. Could we imagine a hypothetical situation where advanced spiritual beings in the future can manifest with extreme power that to us does seem miraculous? They can find the possible outcome that they want and pull it into their paths and make it happen. Well, wouldn't that be cool? Interestingly enough, there are one or two people on this planet that I wonder if they're that advanced, whether they're a superhuman mutant Homo sapien, or whether they are actually alien in some way or from the future. I don't know. But there are some people whom I have met who seem to have the ability to manifest reality with way more strength than me or anybody else that I know. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Who knows what might happen in the future? Anyway, I'm coming to the end of this show. I thank you very much for watching, and I congratulate you all, and I thank you all so much for joining me in a show where we tried to increase peace in the world. You're all wonderful for attempting to do that with me. Thank you very much. I wish you all peace, love, and well-being. I look forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye for now.